Pennywise picks on the wrong kids, Malcolm, Reese, and Dewey. A Fringly Reddit story. The crash echoed through the house, followed by just a moment's silence, where each of the males who heard it began to think of a solid alibi for where they were. Malcolm, Reese, and Dewey exchanged looks, each trying to work out if this was the end result of some plan the others had put in place, while cataloging the things that they themselves could have done to cause it. Oh, for the love of. The sound of their mother's voice catapulted all three to their feet. Reese was the first to point an accusatory finger at Dewey. He poked forward, pushing into his brother's chest. "What did you do?" Dewey shook his head quickly. "Me? I've been in here all day." Malcolm was in the living room earlier. Both heads swiveled to the middle brother, who stepped back. "I didn't do anything. It must have been." "What on earth?" A gentle thumping came up the hall and Hal passed by the door, shoes in hand as he tried to escape. Unnoticed. His head swiveled as he passed the boys' room, eyes wide and frantic. There was only time. For one word before he power-walked past, hips swiveling in a rhythmic motion. Hide. It was all they needed, and the three boys dived for the window, pushing and shoving until they were free and into the garden, and then running at full speed away from the house. It didn't matter where, they only needed to be gone. Eventually they slowed, Reese pausing to break yet another antennae off a car. Dewey heaved to catch his breath, while Malcolm set his hands on his hips, his face screwed into a skull. "Okay, so which of you did it? Mom is going to kill us, so we might as well work it out now, and then the others can at least escape the, hey, what are you two looking at?" His two brothers were staring behind him, and he swiveled to see. It was the old Henderson place, abandoned, broken down, and creepy as always, but today someone had tied a red balloon to the doorknob. Malcolm turned to his brothers. "What? The balloon? So what? We have hundreds of those? It's just a stupid balloon." Reese smiled. "Yeah, my balloon." "No fair," squeaked Dewey. "I saw it first." For half a second the three were paused, before all broke for the door and grabbed for the balloon as they got there. The rotten wood was no match for the three boys, and it burst open, spilling them inside and busting the balloon on a splinter. Dewey clutched the popped rubber and began to snivel. "No fair, you didn't even want the balloon." In as comforting way as he could, Reese leaned down and punched his little brother hard. "Stop crying. Look at this awesome house we've stumbled into." Malcolm had also been looking around. "Yeah, it looks creepy, but in here it's just another old house. Hey, I bet we could have a party here and no one would even care. Then I could get all the cool kids to come, and they might not think I was such a crawlboy." "Reese, what about if we—" Dewey tugged Malcolm's sleeve. "He's gone." Reese had indeed run further into the house, leaving the two alone. "I don't like this. Can we go somewhere else?" Malcolm shook Dewey loose. "Don't be stupid, Dewey. It's a cool old house." He walked forward into the next room. "We could set up music here and have a make-out room over there." In a moment he was gone and Dewey was all alone. Dewey stood by the door, half undecided if he would follow his brother until the faint sound of music reached him. It was a jolly tune, full of promises of joy and fun. Suddenly, a door, unseen before now, pushed open and another red balloon floated out. Dewey watched in surprise and stepped forward. "Hello there." Now closer, Dewey could see a pair of eyes staring out at him. "Would you like a balloon, little boy?" Dewey could now see that the balloon as held by a clown. "Yes, please." The clown smiled. "Would you like to come down here into the basement?" "If you do, I have lots more balloons down here and they all float and dance." "They all float down here." Dewey reached forward and before the clown could react, he had grabbed the string. "No thanks, I just want the balloon." He turned, but the voice returned. Soft and mocking. "I've got candy down here and comic books too." Dewey thought back to what his brothers had always told him. If someone offers you candy and comic books, go with them and bring some back. Shrugging, he turned back and stepped through the door. Reese had run deep into the house, looking for what he knew would be here somewhere, a load-bearing wall. It had been weeks since he'd caused any major havoc, and if he could knock down a whole house, that would be awesome. The problem was that no matter how far he went, none of the walls seemed to be the right one. Each corner led to another thin plaster wall, but no load-bearing ones to smash. Here he was, ready to destroy, and he couldn't. Overwhelmed with anger and sorry, he sank to his knees. Why God, why me? A soft voice called to him from a door to one side. Hello there, little boy. Would you like to come down here? There is lots to break and damage down here in the... Hey, who are you? Reese looked closely. Are you a clown? I love clowns. He grabbed a piece of rebar from a pile of debris. When the circus came to town, I got to beat one up, and their nose kept honking. It was so funny. With that, he darted through the door and down, into the basement below. Slowly, the door closed. Behind him, Malcolm carefully mapped out the rooms, planning where each part of the party would be. For sure, if he could get this right, he would be popular. It was only after a few minutes that he began to realize that his brothers were missing and, more worryingly, silent. Dewey? Reese? There was no reply, and Malcolm felt a cold trickle of dread passing down his spine. Anyone? There was a bang from the other room as the door smashed open and the cutting voice of his mother sliced through the air. You boys are in such trouble when I find you. He didn't know what it was about, but Malcolm knew from the tone that it was bad. Worse than when Francis had cut off Hal's hair, worse than when he himself had swapped his mother's face cream for butter. Desperate, he cast about for an escape and luckily saw one. The door in the far corner was open and he darted in, quickly slipping down the steps and pulling it shut behind him. All he needed to do was to hide for long enough for his mother to leave or find one of the others, and he could slip away. The stairs went down, and then suddenly, just as he began to wonder why they were so deep, he fell, landing on something soft. Get off me, you idiot. It was his brother, and he had landed on Reese's head. Malcolm stumbled up and saw both of his brothers were there, but the route back up was gone, broken stairs far above them and impossible to reach. What do we do now? I'm getting candy floss, cried Dewey and moved to go forward, but Malcolm grabbed him. Mom is right behind me. She followed us here and... It's MOM. The other two screamed and ran into each other. We've got to get out of here right now, Reese demanded. From the corner, out of the darkness, came a soft voice. Oh, but you can come with me. Mr. Clowney, Dewey cried. The other two looked on as the old-fashioned clown moved from the gloom. I call him Mr. Clowney, and he's my friend. Malcolm and Reese were looking a little more closely at the figure, who had smiled and shown off row after row of razor teeth. I think we've got to go, Dewey, like right now. Reese grabbed his arm and span, and the three shot into the darkness, pushing past boxes and crates that had been stored there for years. Behind them, the clown advanced. Its smile now split into a horrific grimace as it advanced slowly, keeping the boys in sight. They pushed forward, trying to run, but this basement was so full it was impossible, and they crashed into things, trying to keep an eye behind them as it grew closer, larger and more terrifying. It laughed softly, mockingly, as it enjoyed the pursuit, enjoyed softening them up. At last the boys found the wall, and there was nowhere more to go. The clown paused, ready for its moment, ready for its glory, ready to... There you boys are. Lois burst past the last few boxes and grabbed the ear of her nearest son, yanking Reese almost off his feet. You little horror, you monster. All three boys screamed in terror and relief. Malcolm grabbed his mother's leg and sobbed happily. How did you find us? Lois looked down in puzzlement. For once the boys seemed almost happy to have been found. You left a trail of vandalized cars leading right to the door, which you also broke. This is the Kellerman place. In fact, they used to do daycare here, before you boys. Well, before you. Lois looked about. The basement suddenly seemed less threatening. The boxes were play equipment and everything you would need to run a daycare. Now, you boys have a lot to answer for. You're coming with me. She dragged them up and out of the basement, away from the terrors below and into the light. In the darkness, IT watched them leave. IT knew fear, IT consumed fear, but even IT knew when it was in the presence of a master.